Hey guys, my son decided to go down for a second nap, which never happens, but yesterday with trick-or-treating and all that, um, he really needed it. So I wanted to take this time to make a video for you because these hours I don't normally have free. So I had to capitalize on it. So forgive me ahead of time. I didn't have much time to prepare for this. So I'm going to be looking at my notes pretty darn often. I don't know what's going on with my hair. Mom life. Okay, so when we were at Leaders Retreat, we had a woman named Carrie Wilkerson speak to us. It was on the second day? No, last day. I don't know. I don't know what day it was. I think it was Saturday that she spoke, and it was my first time hearing her speak. She spoke in Hawaii, Kona, for the Emerald Extravaganza, and they brought her out to Texas as well. So clearly, she's adored by all of us, and rightfully so. She's phenomenal. But she kind of gave us some tough loving and tough loving with a very, very intentional purpose. And she covered a topic called DNA, which I find extremely fascinating already. I'm reading a book, I'm almost done with it, kind of on DNA and how we're programmed and all of that. So this was right up my alley. I'm going to try to keep this as short and sweet as possible for you guys. And again, bear with me, I'm going to be looking at my notes a lot. But hopefully you're able to grasp the concept. I'm nowhere near able to convey the message as well as she does or provoke emotion like she does, but hopefully my notes are good enough for you guys and I just had to share. Okay, so the topic of DNA, she broke it down into what D stands for, N stands for, and what A stands for. And overall, your DNA, these are things that can be predetermined about you. You can't deny some of your DNA, like your height, your skin, your bone structure, all of that type of stuff. You can't deny or fight those. Those are just we're stuck with them. I got a lot of my dad's side of the family. I'm short, I have awful eyesight, and I have really bad skin. I can't fight that. Nothing I can do about it. It's just the way that it is. So you can't deny some DNA, but you don't have to default to all of it. Some DNA you can defy. So I'm going to say that again. There's some DNA that you can't deny, but you don't have to default to all of it. Some of it you can deny. We are born with a builder's model. So like a house, when homes are being built, there's a builder's model, and we are built with that. You can choose to move into the builder's model, or you can choose to move in and remodel the inside. I know you guys watch Fixer Upper, and they knock down home or walls, and they are putting shiplap in and all that stuff. They totally redo the builder's model, and we can do the same thing with ourselves, with our own DNA. We can do the same exact thing with the way that we tick, which is incredible. Um, Leadership requires a certain type of DNA, but the beautiful thing about that DNA is that you don't have to be born with it. So it doesn't matter who you are. I don't care if you were brought up in the slums or if you were brought up with your daddy being a billionaire. We all have the same capability to succeed in this. You determine and decide what happens from this point forward. All you have to do is take responsibility and you have to take action. So she really, really challenged us at this point to listen and do. Because just drive, I mentioned this in my last video, just drive and desire for this business is not going to be enough. You have to rewire your DNA and you have to really apply the things that you're learning. So D stands for desperation. You have to have desperation in your business Your heart must have a certain level of desperation. It's not enough to want it and desire it. You have to actually go get it. And it has to be a situation of literally do or die in your heart and your will. You have to be desperate. And that's why we talk about so often the importance of your why and making your emotions tied to your why. Because I don't know about you, but my will to quit my job was so beyond me, and it was so emotional, and I was so incredibly desperate for it that there was no option but to attain that goal. And now my why, I am so desperate for it to happen that again it's the same thing. There's no way out. There's only the only way to move is forward. So you have to have a certain level of desperation in your business. Dig deep to find what you're desperate for. Now, the other D, this is really the big D that she covered, is destination. She said point blank that you are not a leader if you do not have a destination. You have to know exactly where you're going, and there is no option but to get there. So that desperation and destination, they coexist together. You have to be desperate in order to get to that destination. You have to know your influence and your impact in order to be the driving force of where you're going. So own those things as a leader. Whether you have one person on your team, whether you don't have anyone, you're leading yourself, or you have 20 people on your team, you have to know your influence and your impact. It starts with you. Okay, if you don't know your destination, if you are not fully desperate and committed to getting to that destination, then nobody on your team will either. It will literally crumble. Plans can change. The roadmap will change, but the destination does not. You may get, and your destination doesn't have to be a rank. It can be a dollar amount. For me, the longest time, my dollar amount was what I knew that I needed to make in order to quit my job. And that didn't necessarily match a rank. Once I got to that destination, the roadmap changes. You rewire it a little bit. Months are different in this business. That's okay. The roadmap will change. It's not going to happen how you think it's going to happen or how you thought it would happen. I can guarantee you that. But the destination, your destination and your desperation to get there does not change. And then she talks about your destination. If you are going across the country, you got a big destination, you want to go diamond, you want to be a jewel one day, then you have to agree on this destination with your shareholders. She talked about maybe your spouse or your parents or your children, whoever it may be, but the shareholders in your life and your time. You have to agree on this destination with them because some of it will take sacrifice. I know for me, in order to get where I am, I have to, and where I'm going, I've had many conversations with my husband, and he knows that sometimes at night, when that's the only hours that we get together, I need to be working. And he's invested into my destination because he knows that he will reap the ROI on that. He will reap the benefits of these mutual sacrifices that we're making as a couple in order for us to get to the destination. We're both desperate for me to get there. Even if your spouse isn't fully invested into it yet, sit down and talk with them, or whoever it may be. Sit down and talk with them and see, I want to be at this point. This is where I want to go. Are you with me in that? Can you support me in this? And I think you may be surprised by what comes out of that. A lot of people are caught off guard, I guess you can say, when their opinions are asked and you show that you care what they think and you know that it's going to take sacrifice on their end as well. So D stands for desperation to get to your destination. N is narrative. This is one of my favorite parts. You create your narration. What is the story that you want to tell people? You want to make a positive narration. You want your story to be something positive that attracts people and that people are going to want to be a part of. If you're talking about your baby mama drama or baby daddy drama, whatever it may be, or you're complaining about this and that constantly, people aren't going to want to be a part of that. I'm sorry. I won't. I don't want negativity in my life. You decide your narration. I don't care where you came from, but from this point forward, you design your narration, and it's all about how you program yourself. I'm reading a book right now called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. And it is powerful. And it literally goes into the science of how our brains are wired and how we have the full power over how our brains work. So it doesn't matter if you have always been told that you can't, and you've always been told to the point that now you believe it. Don't be a victim to that anymore. You can begin telling yourself that you can. You could begin telling yourself that you're awesome, that you're going to do this, that there is no way but forward, and you're so desperate to get to that destination that you are going to take all these people with you and you're going to impact lives. You are going to influence the people around you. You are going to inspire. You are going to change the financial status of your family. You are going to change your children's lives because you told yourself that you're going to. You determine your narration. You have to stop with the excuses. You have to stop complaining, take responsibility, and own where your business is. If your business is nowhere, it's nobody's fault but your own. Take responsibility. Stop shoulding all over yourself. No more, I should be doing this. I should have done that. Shoulda, shoulda, shoulda. No, do it. You decide your narration. At the end of the day, there is nobody to blame but yourself. You can blame yourself for your successes, or you can blame yourself for your failures. I want to blame myself for my successes one day. You're an adult. Nobody will do it for you. You have an inherited DNA, but that is not an excuse. You have to take control and you have to choose the other route because nobody will choose it for you. Nobody will change that. She talked about how, people grow up with abusive parents. They grow up with parents that are drug addicts, that are alcoholics. They have grown up being tortured and all of these awful, awful, unfathomable things that people are born with. You don't have to choose that path to continue down that road of failure or of hurt that you've always been on. You decide your narrative. You decide that positive life that you're going to live, and you can change your route. You'll change your destination because you are desperate enough for it. So you are in control of your narrative. She talked a little analogy, and it's beautiful. She talked about the story of a caterpillar. And the science behind the caterpillar, I guess for a long time, they didn't know what happened in the cocoon when the caterpillar went into the cocoon and then came out as a butterfly. They had no idea what happened in there or how that happened. Literally, the body completely transforms and it comes out a different species. Well, they discovered that the DNA of a caterpillar is the exact same DNA as the butterfly. So when the caterpillar goes into the cocoon, it literally turns into mush. Like all of its compartments and every part of its body is broken down and it almost turns into this real mushy thing. But the DNA doesn't change. It's just built back up and formed into this beautiful, breathtaking, incredible creature. And so it literally decomposes himself and breaks down and comes out on the other end just breathtaking. And that was her analogy for leadership. And I thought that was absolutely beautiful. You can't avoid the breakdown. And there's going to be a lot of breakdowns. It's going to happen. What we do isn't easy. Life isn't easy. I don't care if We're talking plexus or not, you are going to hit a breakdown at one point or another in your life. And in this business, you will multiple times. But what matters is that you stick it out and you allow nature to happen and you come out on the other side empowered. Some of you can see the cocoon coming, some of you may be in it, or some of you just came out of it. But one thing is always true. What happens in the cocoon is powerful, and you come out magnificent on the other end if you create your positive narrative and you know your destination. How beautiful is that, right? Okay. Now A is action. So D, we have you're desperate for your destination. N is narrative, your positive narrative. And A, action. There's no thinking about the business. There's no going and buying a planner, no sitting down and going and doing this or I'm making this graphic really pretty. That's not action. Those are not IPAs. Your business is built around your own. My boy is up. So much for nap time. You have to have strong actual action. Your business has to be built on IPAs. Talking about it isn't going to do anything. Buying the resources isn't going to do anything. Buying the books will do nothing unless you actually read them. Watching training videos will do nothing unless you take notes and really apply it. Talking to people will do nothing if you can't seal the deal. Reaching out to others, posting on Facebook will do nothing if you don't reach out to these people and follow up with them and create conversations. When you're in alignment with your business, you can stop sharing everyone else's success stories and you will be able to share your own. I loved that quote. You are a leader when you model this DNA. Don't default to your DNA, create it. I hope that this was as powerful for you as it was for me. I'm no Carrie Wilkerson, but that's the gist of what she talked about. You guys, you were born with a builder's model, and you don't have to default to it. You can deny it and overcome it by being desperate for your destination and knowing exactly where you're going, by creating your positive and beautiful narrative and taking life in strides and refusing to stop, knowing that you will come out on the other end absolutely magnificent, and by taking major, controllable, bold action. I love you guys. I am proud of you. November is going to be huge, and I hope this is helpful to you.